Wow, what a performance by Carlos Prates. UFC Perth just got wrapped up, and Carlos Prates ended up walking away with an incredibly dominant round three TKO victory. A fight which he was winning the entirety of that fight. He was winning from round one all the way up until the finish. Yes, Jack Della did have a couple of moments, found a couple of takedowns, landed some calf kicks, landed some decent shots, but honestly, more or less, Prates dominated the entirety of this fight, wherever it went, whether he was on the front foot or even on the back foot. Because if you guys remember my breakdown going into this fight, I thought Prates was going to win because of the calf kick as well as the power. And I guess in the end, that did turn out to be the case. But also, I thought the front foot battle would be incredibly important. I thought if JDM was on the front foot, he would have a lot of success, put punches together in combination, maybe even shooting for some takedowns and achieve them, and just have success. And Prates would have a lot of trouble dealing with those combinations of JDM, especially when his back is alongside the cage. But vice versa, if Carlos Prates was able to stay on the front foot, he would have a lot of success. Jab, left straight, calf kicks, body kicks, even head kicks at times, those knees as well on the front foot. There's a lot that Prates can go to. And obviously, as we've seen in a lot of previous performances, when Prates lands cleanly, the fight's over. But in this fight, Prates impressed me a lot, actually, where he obviously was having a lot of success when he was fighting on the front foot, but more or less he only set that up because he was having success off of the back foot. Because early in round one, JDM did a great job at constantly staying on the front foot. But even in those scenarios, Carlos did a great job of doing a few different things. His timing was great, and he definitely utilized a lot of good techniques. The calf kick, which is something that we talked about, it's something that Islam had a lot of success with. Carlos also had an incredible amount of success with the calf kick, both on the front foot as well as off the back foot. But also those knees up the middle were humongous for Carlos. He ended up landing probably about 4 or 5 flush head kicks consistently against Jack Della, and they were landing flush. So to see Jack Della eat those shots, honestly, was pretty crazy. So essentially, the calf kicks and those knees set up the pressure for Prates. And also, as we were talking about before, once Prates is able to get on the front foot, that's where he goes to work, and that's where he has all of his success. And we saw it once again in this fight. When he was on the front foot, calf kicks were big, essentially forced JDM to go into conventional. From there, Prates did a great job at landing big body kicks. His jab left straight was on the money. His step-in knees were on the money. Step-in elbows were on the money. His knees also were great as well. A couple of head kicks came pretty close to landing. Prates more or less just dominated this fight from top to bottom. And at the end, obviously it's a little bit more complicated than this, but in the end, the calf kicks and power set it up for Carlos Prates. I just thought stylistically going into this fight, it's not the best fight in the world for Jack Della. If he can find takedowns, obviously that's a path to victory. And it seems like that is something that a lot of fighters go to when they fight Carlos Prates is the wrestling. But if you can't hold this guy down, you're probably not going to beat him unless you have the movement of an Ian Gary, let's say. It's very difficult to stand with this guy for 3 or 5 rounds. He'll eventually get you. And in this fight, he didn't eventually get him. He dominated from round 1 to the finish. So great performance from Carlos Prates. And as for Jack Della Maddalena, I guess you have to respect his chin. It's insane, the level of damage that he took in this fight, and he still didn't technically get knocked out. The finishing sequence was set up by the calf kick. The calf kick really dropped Jack Della, and from there, Carlos ended up swarming him, landing some big shots on the ground. And obviously, Jack Della was hurt multiple times in this fight, but the fact that he didn't go out is honestly insane. So his chin's great. He also had some success offensively wrestling a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. Landed some good shots, good calf kicks. So there were certain moments for Jack Della, but as I've said, it was just a very, very dominant performance by Carlos Prates. Now, as for what's next, this is something that we talked about a lot, actually, on my last video, the Juicecast episode, but also on the main channel's live streams. I think it's a bit tricky because now Carlos Prates won this fight and he won in a very dominant fashion. He should get a title shot in his next fight after Ian Gary gets his title shot. But the question at this point is, who would get it, Micah Morales or Carlos Prates? Because all of a sudden, if Micah Morales goes out there and fights, let's say, a Kamaru Usman or let's say somebody else, and he wins and knocks him out, he would deserve a title shot next as well. And also, there's an argument to be said that Micah Morales deserves a title shot right now. So you do kind of have a conflict of interest. I think you can either go in one of two directions. Either you give the immediate title shot to one of these guys. Pick. Do you want to give it to Morales or do you want to give it to Prates? Pick one of those two. give them the shot, or you can have them fight each other. This has been a fight that a lot of fans have been wanting actually for quite a while. Morales versus Prates, I think, would be super, super fun. And why not put it together as a number one contender fight? I think it honestly, at this point, based upon the result of this fight, it actually makes a ton of sense. So I guess we'll see what the UFC decides to do for the welterweight division. But I will say it is a very, very good problem to have. If you're that stacked that you can't even figure out which fighters should fight for the belt next. So that's something I will say. But nonetheless, this night or this day, it is as it is early for us US folk, definitely goes to Carlos Prates. Great performance. Probably the best performance of his career, I would say. It wasn't a walk-off knockout, so he didn't extend that streak, I guess. But nonetheless, it was a super, super dominant performance. It wasn't close. It really was not close. So great performance by Prates. We'll see what the UFC decides to do next for him. Hopefully he gets a title shot or maybe the Michael Morales fight. We shall see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick instant reaction. And also let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think of the fight? What do you think that Jack Della could have done better? What do you guys think? Let me know down below. But anyways, boys, until the next one, peace out, fellas.